And what do you think is Israel's responsibility in getting the U.S. into this moment? I mean, the president is certainly, by some assessment, and again, you used very strong language against the president of the United States. What responsibility does Israel have for starting this war 9 days ago, knowing ultimately that America was always going to come to Israel's defense at some point and perhaps even get involved in this war on behalf of Israel? I mean, it's safe to say the United States would not have been doing this tonight if Israel had not started this unprovoked war 9 days ago.
Yeah, sorry, that last sentence I got to get back to in just a second. But I'm a big personal responsibility person. This isn't Israel's fault. It's not Israel's fault that Donald Trump decided to bomb. Yeah, they wanted him to, but he's the president of the United States. He doesn't have to do what Israel tells him to do. So let's not make any mistake about that. Second, Iran has definitely been provoking Israel. Iran, from its founding, has had it as one of its central tenets that Israel doesn't have a right to exist, which is, pretty much an unprecedented foreign policy, except for Russia now in Ukraine. Iran has supported Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, and various other groups that have directly attacked Israel. So that Israel had a reason to attack Iran, I will not question. The U.S. doesn't. And the U.S., as I mentioned, has forces in the region and they're at risk. There is no question that Prime Minister Netanyahu and Israel put a ton of pressure on Donald Trump to do this. He didn't have to. He could have put our interests, sorry, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. He could have put America first, but it doesn't seem like that's the decision that he made. And the consequences of it going forward are, as I have said, very unpredictable and certainly dangerous for U.S. interests.
I'm sure you've seen, certainly within the MAGA world and within the Republican Party, some who agree with you that this is not a war that America should have gotten into. It is not an America First policy. Tom Massey called the strikes tonight unconstitutional. What should the Democrats be doing right now? I mean, the fact that these questions, this criticism was coming out from the Tucker Carlsons of the world and the Steve Bannons of the world, and not from some of the senior leaders of the Democratic Party before tonight. We're seeing it a little bit tonight, but not before tonight. Yeah. Where does it go from here?
Sorry, I've been saying don't do this, don't do this, don't do this for the last 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know what other leaders have been saying that, but the statement I put out tonight is perfectly consistent with everything I've been saying since this started.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think the really important point here is, where does U.S. national security and foreign policy go? And the thing that I kind of agree with is that we need to get off of this sort of end of the Cold War thinking that we can just move the pieces of the world around like they're our chessboard, that we're the world's sole remaining superpower, right? So whatever we want to do, we can fix and move and do. We became too overly ambitious in our ability to do that after the first Gulf War, with disastrous consequences in Iraq and in Afghanistan. We need to rethink the world and look at it as a multipolar world, not a world that we are in a position to dominate and reshape to our desire. That belief system got us into a ton of trouble. All right. And I personally, 20 some odd years ago, I struggled with that myself. I don't think I made all the right decisions about how to do that. Now that we've learned that we shouldn't do that, here we go again. We're doing that. We're imagining that our military might is going to reshape the world, bend it to our will. So not only is this a problem in Iran, but it is a problem with this broader militaristic philosophy that somehow we're going to build a strong enough military that we can just go break whatever we want to break and reshape it to our interests. That's just not the world I think that we live in. And I think having that belief system is dangerous beyond Iran. In terms of how we choose to employ national security and foreign policy and use our military going forward. I think it's got to be more about partnerships and alliances, understanding we are not going to dominate. We got to figure out how to peacefully coexist with people in this world. This takes us in the exact opposite direction, and that was one of the cornerstones of the Trump argument. Vote for me because I'm going to get us out of that business. Right. This makes it very clear that, once again, he was lying to us about what he was going to do.
No surprise there. Congressman Adam Smith, it's great to have you on the show. Greatly appreciate your insights as always, sir. Thank you for making time.
Thanks for the chance.
We'll be right back with more of our special coverage on MSNBC. Stay with us.